So she touts her record on child sexual abuse cases. She also touts her record on domestic violence and, prosecuting the offenders and standing up for the victims of it, except if they happen to be the victims at the hand of her own husband.
I mean, this story is unbelievable.
And it's growing now, okay? Because the accuser, the woman who says she was slapped in the face by Kamala's husband a year before they got married. I mean, this isn't ancient history. This happened in 2012. They were married, I think, in 14 or 13. So yeah, here's a picture. She's blurred out because she's maintaining her anonymity right now because she doesn't want her life to be ruined. She's a successful attorney. She's married now. She's got a great life. And, she's going to have a shitstorm rain down on her if she attaches her name to these allegations. But I believe this woman entirely. She's putting the story out there first person with the Daily Mail. She's a lawyer. She knows very well she's going to get sued for defamation if this is not true. No lawsuit has been forthcoming, Steve. And the first person testimonial has got some disturbing things in it.
Yeah.
A couple of points that I just wanted to raise. So she talks about how she met him the first date. He brings his son in, who is older at the time, like a teenager. The first date, he brings his son to meet her. Now, who does that? Everybody knows you don't bring the children in to meet like the new potential stepmother until...
That is weird. I hadn't heard that till just now.
And she knew it was weird too. She felt bad for him because she didn't want him to just wander New York City without her. She was living in New York. And he was living in on the West Coast in San Fran. So fine. But it was a little red flag for her that he brings his son in. The two of them met on Match.com. She says the relationship consisted of an intense few months with Emhoff discussing marriage and children after just weeks. He starts love bombing her, Steve, which is what, I'm not saying Doug Emhoff is a stalker, but that's what a stalker and a controlling man will do. They don't come on like, hey, I'm going to beat you. Or, hey, I want to control every facet of your life and separate you from your family. They come on like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. Here's the roses. Let's take amazing trips together. Come buy a house with me. And that was the next thing. He brought her out to L.A. or whatever. I can't remember if it's San Fran or L.A. And says, I really want you to look around this house with me. And he's talking immediately about marriage and children. Marriage and children with her, like within the first couple of days. He grabs her around the stomach saying, I want more babies. I mean, they're not even dating for a long time at this point, and really wanted to leave his family behind then when she got an opportunity in the UK to move there. And he was like, what family? My wife's got this, and wanted to move to the UK with this woman who's a high-powered, it sounds like a climber, right? He's a climber. So then they go to this event. I think the people know the situation where he smacked her. It was brutal. But then she talks about how he told her about the nanny and the affair with the nanny. And she says as follows, we were in Santa Monica. He was driving his fancy car. And so I just straight out asked him, I feel like you're on the back foot in the divorce, like you're trying to make up for something. All I did was ask him one question, and he told me the whole story without skipping a beat, staring straight ahead of the road. He tells me he had an affair with his daughter's teacher. She was the teacher and the nanny, I guess. And that subsequently she claimed she was pregnant. He's telling me this very casually, like it's no big deal. He yelled at her. This is his account, that he yelled at the nanny. He never said that he hit her, but he said he got really angry with her and that she subsequently called, she subsequently claimed that whatever he did caused her to lose the pregnancy. He said she got a lawyer and was threatening litigation. I was flabbergasted, and I was taken aback by how matter-of-fact he could talk about it. Now, we know from the Daily Mail, they went and pulled the police records around, they found out where the nanny lived, and that they had a level 3 alert on this woman's house at the time that she would have been pregnant, potentially having this conversation.
Wow.
Which involves sirens and lights and an emergency response.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, to the house. So, there's a real... look, I don't know. He denies hitting this woman. He admits having an affair with the nanny. Whether she actually was pregnant, what happened there, he doesn't admit. But I think there's a pattern with these guys. You tell me, because I've never met a man who hits just the one woman the one time.
This is the thing that people point out. And, we don't know. And all of this stuff is complicated in the sense that it's human relationships. But as you say, if there's a pattern. The point is that the lack of curiosity about this from the media, generally speaking, the fact that the champions of women's rights and all of that stuff are just so casual about this and recoil when anyone even tries to bring it up. You saw that the other night on CNN. They tried to shut it down. Imagine if this was the other way around.
So did CNN's... they had a correspondent on Bill Maher a week or two ago, and Laura Coates, she shut it down too. When Bill Maher raised it, well, I haven't researched, I haven't looked into it, I don't know much about it. Why not?
Exactly.
Why don't you? And then we have to be really careful about going out there with allegations before we verified them. When have you ever exercised that in the past on CNN?
I know, I mean, just look what they've done with CBS just this week on some of the Trump stuff. I mean, it's just completely so glaring. The double standard and the lack of curiosity and the fact that and it just reminds me of the stuff with Clinton. It's just the same, isn't it? Going back all those years to Clinton, when it's our guy, it's fine.
I think they agreed that those were, quote, bimbo eruptions under Bill Clinton. I think they were very happy to dismiss those women. It's just trailer trash.
Yeah.
We don't need to pay attention to them.
Yes.
And so it's kind of interesting because I think that is the media's general attitude. But this woman is nobody's.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's interesting.
Bimbo.
I hadn't read all those details. I haven't read the story yet.
She's a sophisticated party.
Yeah.
And for her, and she's a lawyer. Trust me, no lawyer would be putting this out in writing. We would all know we'd get sued to the nth degree. And I guarantee you this woman will stand by the Daily Mail if they get sued, and that she'll give them a sworn declaration. I mean, I think she's ready to fight if he picks it with her. Right. But he's trying to run from her.
They hope it'll go away and they can just get through the election and then it'll go away. Exactly.
It will.
I know.
I don't think it's going to actually have much traction if she doesn't come out and put her name to it. I think that's just a reality. Yeah. If you know her name and you see her testimonial, it's very hard to just dismiss it. But because she's anonymous and it's with the Daily Mail, who I love, but the mainstream can just say, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
To me, it's very disturbing. And yet they're running with these claims that have been made against Trump, which are as far as I can understand, there is a woman who claims she dated Jeffrey Epstein in 1992.
It's just
1992, and that one time he brought her by Trump Tower, and that she opened the door to greet Donald Trump, and before she knew it, he was, quote, groping her. She said he kissed her, he grabbed her breasts, touched her waist, and grabbed her behind. And that was kind of over after that. It was like a chit-chat. They went on to talk, like Jeffrey and Trump and this woman. And then she left with Jeffrey, and he was angry because he didn't like how that went. But he and Trump remained friends. I think she says she continued dating Jeffrey Epstein for months. Anybody who dated Jeffrey Epstein for months.
But this whole thing, it's so hilariously predictable. Suddenly it shows up, a couple of weeks before the election. I mean, just
Trump denies it, by the way.
You could have written it, something like this.
Well, you've seen, not necessarily all of these media companies, I haven't seen CNN cover that, but I think it was in Variety, it was in the Daily Beast, it was in a lot of these publications that have absolutely no interest in this woman's story. This, high-powered attorney who's doing a first-person testimonial in detail with witnesses, with receipts, totally different treatment. It's very annoying. And I mean, look, we're talking, this other woman's 1992 with no contemporaneous witnesses whatsoever, no proof whatsoever. It's infuriating. There is a lot at stake in this upcoming election, but regardless of who's sitting in the White House, the fuse on the economy's already been lit. Every 4 years, a conservative might win, but that's not enough to turn around the tide on our $35 trillion national debt. And if the left wins, it's like throwing gas on a dumpster fire. One thing you could do is to diversify your savings into gold with the help of Birch Gold Group. For millennia, gold has stood firm in the face of greedy governments, economic upheavals, and global strife, and it can protect you now. Birch Gold will help you convert an IRA or a 401k into an IRA in physical gold, tax-free and penalty-free, and it doesn't cost you a cent out of pocket. In the past 4 years, the buying power of the U.S. dollar has declined. The price of gold has gone up. Text MK to 989898 to get your info kit. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.